Is our beautiful sweet dough. We are going to roll it out into a rectangle, 18 inches by 14 inches. And if you don't know how big that is, I like to set myself up with a sweet little ruler. So because there is so much, I put a lot of oil on top, we're gonna just I'm just gonna kind of start it this way, and then we're gonna roll it out. The most important thing when rolling anything out is that it's reasonably the same height throughout, okay? It just becomes really inconsistent cooking if you've got some weird waves. So let's get this out here. And let's look at our thing, whoops. And we need to get it to 18. So it needs to go a little bit this way. And we're just gonna kind of pull it and even it out. Okay, so that is pretty close to 18. Give it a bit more this way. There we go. There's our 18 and 14. We're gonna go a little more this way. So it's not a bad idea when you're doing this is to run your hands over the top and just feel for any obvious waves, okay? Now we've got a 1/4 cup of butter here melted, and all we're gonna do is we're going to brush the butter. If you don't have a butter, you can just ladle it on with a spoon and then spread it out with the back of a spoon. You do not need a pastry brush. You do need butter though, okay? I'm gonna do a couple of really good layers of butter, and the leftover butter I'm just gonna mix it up with, this is just my own little variation for this recipe. We're gonna mix that up with a little bit of icing sugar and a little bit of milk just to have that basic icing on top. You do not need that icing, you don't. You've got a cup and a half of brown sugar, plus a 1/4 cup of sugar. You got lots of sugar in this recipe. And so, but sometimes when you're talking about icing, it's not about a necessity, it's about a want. And I want to have that white icing on top because I like it. Okay, so that is nicely coated with butter. Now we're gonna take our brown sugar, cinnamon mix, we're going to sprinkle it on. I'm leaving a 1-inch border. It just makes it a little bit easier to gather it up. So this last stage is a little bit easier with 2 people, but you can totally do it on your own. You are going to make your rolls, okay? So you are going to start by gathering it up a little bit and turning it on itself. And the idea is that you're turning evenly. Okay? You don't want to get ahead of yourself. So we're going to do another little roll. Tuck them in. Okay, I'm gonna just kind of jam in the ends here. Now we're gonna cut them into rolls and sink them into our pan. Okay, here we go. We're gonna cut them into rounds and sink them into our pan. And it's the same thing as when you're rolling it out. You want it even when you are cutting them out. You don't want one this thick and one this thick. When you're cutting them out, a serrated knife is better than a regular flat edge knife, only because it gives you, it's just easier to saw it so you're not squishing it down. Okay, so they're all gonna go in there. They are going to be, I'm gonna cover them with a hot tea towel, a wet tea towel, and I'm gonna rinse it out. I'm gonna put them in a warm place near the oven, and they need to double in size again. Again, it's about another hour. And then they're gonna cook at 375 for 30 minutes. I'm gonna quickly make up our icing sugar sauce for the top. This is optional, it's extra. And then we're in the home stretch. We're just gonna throw together an icing mix, okay? So here we have let's start with a 1/4 cup of icing sugar. We have about 1/8 cup of butter in there, melted. We're gonna mix that in. If you wanted to, you could add some vanilla to this for a little bit of flavor. You could also add rum or scotch. Always pushing something, an alternate to vanilla, just because, not that I don't like vanilla, but after a while it's like, how about something else? And vanilla, after all, is just mediocre alcohol with a vanilla bean in it. Here we go. There we go. Now we're gonna add a little bit of milk, and we're gonna add another 1/4 cup. If you wanted to make this a cream cheese, you could, I would just add a couple of tablespoons of cream cheese into it. You might want a standing mixer to do that, or some beaters, but you can definitely hand mix it. And if the cream cheese is soft, if it's left out, it'll mix in pretty easily. So maybe break down the cream cheese and the icing sugar first, then you're gonna add your butter and your milk, or maybe you won't even bother with milk. Basically, you're just gonna mix it so you get the consistency and the flavor you want. And like I said, you don't need the sugar. It's loaded with sugar. I just can't do it without it. I like the look of that white sugar on top. There we go. There is our sweet little glaze that we're gonna put on top as soon as they come out of the oven. And we are ready to go. I will show you when they're cooked.